so pretty. Becca, you look so pretty.
What, thanks?
I just got in the shower. I don't really want to go on camera.
Everybody.
I look like a
Okay,
rooster.
so we're live on air now. We're going to talk about how to train our new teammates tonight. We've got all of our panel of our top leaders with us, and we're going to hang on for just a couple of minutes and see who pops on, and then we'll get started. So maybe we'll just give it one quick minute and see how we go here.
I didn't put makeup on. Gross.
I'm just going to grab something.
40 of them.
I love how she said how to train your newbie, but it's just, I was thinking of a movie, how to train your dragon. So cute. We're gonna learn how to train our dragons.
I feel like I can email that coaching terms for myself. Okay, so who's online? Let's get people commenting on the Drive group. There will be no huffing.
I see some people commenting on the link in the Drive group.
Perfect. Okay, yeah, so here we go. All right. Hello, everybody. Okay, let's get moving. We have lots and lots and lots to cover. Dana, I know that you wanted to start off tonight, so let's hear what you have to say, and then the rest of us can kind of pick up. She's still with us, Dana? Okay, I think we lost her. Okay. In that case, I'll start. So, you know, we have so many new people joining right now that it can be a little bit frustrating at times to try to keep up with. Who's got music on? Who's got music?
Becca does the shady eyes. God.
It's a commercial. It's a commercial. It's a commercial. I'm sorry, it's a commercial. Okay. I'll put my microphone on mute.
That's okay. We have a whole bunch of different. There's a whole bunch of different ways that you can train your new consultant. We all have a different kind of style, and I think that that's what makes this training so unique, is that you get the best from all of us, right? So tonight we want to talk about what to do, what not to do, and maybe how to make sure that you get your recruits off to your new teammates. I'm trying to get away from saying that word recruit because I think it kind of puts new people off. So I'm trying to get towards saying the words teammate instead of recruit. The idea here is that people, when they first join, we really want them to hit their shooting star. Not because we want the $30 free credit, because nobody's going to lie. It's wonderful to see that pop up after commissions run. But because later on, if we go into a time when it's not so busy or things don't come so easy, we have a way to remind people of their greatness. And I've had a lot of conversations this week with so many of our leaders about this whole piece around shooting star. Like, how do you get your new teammate off to the best start, especially when they don't want to do parties or they don't want to do vendor shows and they don't have 50 people banging down their door when they post their link for the first time on Facebook? Nothing happens. So what do you do to get your teammate off to the best start so that later on they can remember how awesome they were and also have something to keep building on? So that's kind of what we're kind of looking at tonight. One of the first things that most of us do, and I'm not going to say all of us, we've tapped into, you know, Andrea McCallum did leadership training with us a few years ago, and we were giving challenges just like we give to you. We give you homework every single week, and we ask you to complete your challenge or do something. Well, we asked Andrea and the group that she was dealing with that time to put together what would you say to your new teammate in a nutshell, like just in a few minutes. If you only had a few minutes to give them the best of the best advice, what would it be? And Andrea McCallum made the video on the newbie group, the one that everybody tags everybody in now when they join, because at that time it was the most relevant information, and for the most part it still is. We've come to understand that there's a lot of outdated stuff in the newbie group, but what we want to make sure that you guys understand is that one-on-one training cannot be replaced with videos. Those videos, the newbie group, even our Northern Warmth group, it's there for backup support. So if you're one of those people that's recruiting like 5 people a month or even 3, then you need a little bit of backup, because not only are you recruiting that many people, but you also have your team, you have a life, you have obligations, you have other things to deal with too, right? And so that's why we have the newbie group there. So you can go in and tag them while you're waiting until you get your hands on, or if you can't meet up with them because their schedule doesn't permit or your schedule doesn't permit, the newbie group is there to kind of have your back. But it's not meant to be the training tool. And I think that that's one of the main things that us as leaders on this panel, we had lots and lots of discussion today around the newbie group. And I think that one of the biggest things that I took away from it was that not necessarily us on this panel, but we find that some leaders on the group seem to go in and they tag and they tag and they tag and they tag all kinds of different posts because they think they're all this stuff is so amazing. And maybe it is amazing, but some of it's outdated and it's probably a little bit overwhelming. And that's not what we want. We don't want people to be overwhelmed. What we want is for them to come into Northern Warmth and get a great big welcome, or come onto your pages and get this huge welcome and everybody's excited and feeling that surge of energy, like, oh my God, what did I just do? This is amazing, right? Like they belong to something. And then add to one other thing. So like sometimes I don't even, and again, we're all gonna share a little bit tonight, but like for me, I won't even add my people to the newbie group most times until their second or third day, just because I find that most people aren't prepared for the huge, massive welcome that comes from the group page. And they're like, oh my God, this is crazy. So then they kind of gotta get in there and get used to following the feed, get used to the flow, get used to all these people posting inspiration, posting all these different things. And then once they're able to absorb that, then I throw them into the newbie group. So by that time, I will have walked through the whole workstation with them. I will have spent an hour walking through the whole workstation, including how to input their first order. That is how I do it. Not everybody does it that way. So tonight, I'd like to hear from, or what we're going to do is we're going to hear from other people on the panel, things that they feel that are important, and what we want you to take away from this is how you want to do it, not necessarily how we want you to do it. We need you to figure out what's going to work for you, what's going to work for your business, what's going to work for your lifestyle. How is your business going to be shaped, and how are you going to take your new teammates to the next level? Because what you teach your new teammates is what they're going to teach their teammates. So it's super important, not just for your frontline, but what you teach your frontline, they're going to replicate. And that is going to happen through everything in this business. So I'd love to hear from some of our other leaders, and then maybe we'll come back to
who is that?
Maybe like the drip, that's Jen, I think. But maybe we'll talk about the drip process and the chain of command and stewardship and all that stuff. Anybody else want to start off?
Sure. I can take some notes from where we were supposed to take notes.
Oh, I can do that too. I have lots of stuff. I want to hear from you guys.
Well, I'm going to go through that. I don't know. Should I go next? I don't know.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So I definitely, funny enough, well, not funny at all, actually. It shouldn't be a surprise that I basically do what Robin does. Because it works for me as well. I do find that I don't know if I'm freezing. Can everyone hear me okay?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. Because everyone else is frozen. I may have to come back.
I can see you, but I can't hear. I can hear you, but I can't see you. Like your picture's frozen, but your audio is good.
Okay. Definitely adding them to the newbie group, but making calculated decisions about what you're going to tag them in first is really important, because you definitely, regardless how ready some of your recruits are, they still might be a little bit overwhelmed. So throwing them into the brand new group and getting all this attention.
Okay, Raluca, we're losing you. Can you drop out and come back? So we don't keep cutting in and out. Yeah, okay, we lost Raluca. Steph, how do you feel? Did you have anything to add up front while we're waiting for Raluca to come back?
I'm good for now.
Says the girl who just recruited like 50 new people. Okay, Becca, you're up.
I'm doing a Facebook party right now, so I'm like,
poor girl. That's okay. At least you showed up. Becca.
One of the first things that I try to make sure I do is, because two main goals when you first become a consultant are very time sensitive. And that's your shooting star award and your sensational start levels. The very first thing, besides showing them how to place an order, after the basics are done, the very first thing I want to share with them is a shooting star award. Because that starts the very first day that you join. Like, there's no time, no downtime. Like, you're doing it right then and there. So I try to go through that with them. I explain what it is. I explain the awards of it, what you get if you achieve it, especially last month's big bonus, all that kind of stuff. I really explained it in detail then. And I tell them the tips and the ideas you can do, and things you need to do to achieve that, and how easy it actually is with a good launch party, or with online parties, anything. I did, my launch party was a half home party, half online party. I combined the both of them, and that was my launch party. So I try to really explain Shooting Star to them, make sure they really understand it, because that's only the first 15 days. After that, it's gone. You can't get it after that. So yeah. I really drill that into their heads. I make sure they know it's not mandatory. There's not like a penalty if they don't get it or anything like that. Because I have had some people ask me, like, well, what if I don't achieve it? Am I not going to be a consultant anymore, and kind of deal? Like, I make sure they know it's not mandatory, but it's definitely achievable. Definitely something they want to aim for. Their very first goal that they need to go for is Shooting Star. And after that, I also explain the Shooting Star levels. Obviously, there's a lot more time for that. So I will go through some other things first. But those are the very first two things I want to make sure they know, because of how time sensitive they are. I don't want them to come back at me and be like, I didn't know I only had 15 days. I didn't know I only had 70 days. I would have worked a lot harder if I knew, Yeah. You want to make sure they know all that information. That's anyone that's new, that's the first things that I make sure I can get into them. Besides the basics, like you said, one-on-one is very important. I find going through the workstation with them and how to place their first order with them is two things you need to do one-on-one, even though, like you said, in the newbie group, there are things in there that you can tag them in, and I do tag my guys in there anyways. But you want to make sure, either on the phone, through Facebook message, or in person, that they get that one-on-one from you on how to log into their workstation, go through the tabs on the top of what each one means and what they can do with them, how to place their first order, the difference between a party order and an individual order. Show them the home screen on the left side where they can see their goals. It shows them their first 70-day goals and their PRV goals, lifetime PRV, all of that. I go through all of that with them just to make sure they know the very basics of being a new consultant, because I know firsthand that can be extremely overwhelming. You get all this information at once and you're like, holy crap. So I want to make sure I take my time and go step by step, show them that. And I think that's really important, because if you overwhelm your new guys at the beginning, they're gonna be like, I can't do this, I'm out. Sorry, I tried, I can't. And you don't want to do that, because it's so doable, it's so achievable. Work your steps in there slowly.
Yeah, I think, you've got a lot of amazing points there. And I think that, one of the most important things when you're coaching your new consultant, your new teammate, is to determine how they want to work their business. Like, are they a kidnapper or are they here to work it? Because that's really going to determine how you're going to try to train these people. Right? Like, if you're going to be, if this is somebody who's like, okay, I'm signing up, I'm building a team, this is what we're going to, then you know what, we're going to spend 3 hours together. But if this is someone that's just joining up so that they can, make a little bit extra on the side or whatever, then okay, you know what, we're going to walk through the steps, but I'm not going to overkill it, because I'm not going to overwhelm them. Really need to kind of figure out and feel out where they are. We've got some things that we've worked on before, and we'll talk about them later, the love languages, personality type tests, and they can really kind of help you to decipher how you can encourage your new consultant when they first get going. Okay, it looks like Raluca's back. No, she's not. Maybe she is. She's thinking about it. Okay, Jen, what you got?
Okay, I'm just sitting down so you guys can actually see my face.
You're pretty.
The things that I find really, here we go. The things that I find really super duper important when I've got a new recruit, and it actually hasn't happened in a little while, but the things that I find important are sharing the workstation. So some of the girls have actually covered the things that I was going to talk about in regards to training, because the reality is all of us kind of know the same little tricks of the trade. Is we have a workstation, and we need to make sure that all of our new teammates understand how to use it. Where do they get the new stuff? And these things not only benefit them, but it also benefits us, because it means we don't have to spend 3 hours on the phone explaining everything to everyone. And as our teams grow, and as your teams grow, you'll learn that as well, that you just simply don't have enough time to do it all. So really learning that, and living the notion that you are basically, like, your workstation is your bread and butter, and the sooner you get to know it, the better. So the things that I work on first is the fact that I want them to be able to sign into the workstation. I want them to know where to place an order. I want them to get a party order open on their workstation so that it's visible on their website. And that way they've got a party open. But they also know how to actually have a party open online. They know how to do it again. They know how to duplicate that. I want them to know how Scentsy works in regards to shipping, and when to receive when they should be receiving their orders. I want to walk them through all the questions they may have. So it's really,
Or they don't know they have yet.
yeah, like, I mean, the things that they're going to be asking is how long until my kit comes, and little things like that, right? We want to know the answers to those little questions, but the reality is what they need to know is how to be placing the orders, that they have things like the Shooting Star and Sensation Start 1, 2, and 3 to hit. They can hit certified and start getting paid at 25%. These are the things that they should know fairly quickly, because it'll help them push for those things. So get them excited about it, more so than an info session necessarily, and sort of cheer them along. I like to do at the beginning, and just feel them out, see what they're capable of, and kind of go from there.
Fantastic. Love it.
We'll add more as we go, but that was sort of a little bit there.
No, and you know what? like I said earlier, you know, we're all kind of, as top leaders, because we've sponsored so many new people, we're kind of doing the same types of things, just maybe in slightly different ways, right? And I think that it's important for everyone to hear that we're all kind of doing the same thing. It's funny because, you know, sometimes I could say something 100 times and then somebody else will say it once and all of a sudden somebody gets it, right? It could be just the way it's expressed or just the way it's explained, right? Like sometimes people just click really well with other people. Okay, where are we? Sorry, go ahead, who?
I find too, like when you first sign someone up, not everyone signs up for like to go big, giant, like sensitive, crazy. Like you don't want to push all this information on every single person because, you know, I might have signed up to get free products. I might not really care about making this a big time Scentsy business. Like maybe if in a few months, like that might come for somebody, but not everybody is joining for that.
Yeah.
So you kind of got to feel out people a little bit and see what it is exactly that they want from their Scentsy business.
Yep, absolutely.
Because you don't want to waste, you know what I mean? Like you might spend a little bit more time on someone who actually is joining up to make big money and to go all out with their business rather than someone who's just signing up, you know, to get a few host rewards.
Yeah. So I think we all agree that the workstation is probably the one-on-one and walk through the workstation is probably the #1 thing. Yeah. Setting up a party. I think that we're all pretty much in agreement with that.
I've got a couple of drafts too, if you want me to chime in.
Absolutely, please do.
Like we all do the general things like adding to the group. I just want you to understand that there's a reason behind why we add to the group and we give the shout out and stuff to begin with is because our group is our community, right? And that's the first thing that they're going to experience is our community and how much support that we have. You know, we usually do the whole shout out thing, encourage them to read their email because they're going to get that welcome email first off.
Yeah.
You know, to write their lists of 100 because that's, you know, usually how most of us start off with our beginning contact lists. Be there always to answer questions as much as you possibly can. I try my best. I even joke and I say to my new people, like, I love it when you ask me questions because that means that you care enough to ask questions and that you're trying to learn. And in that way, I know I can cover certain things and get a bit more information out to those people geared towards those specific questions. It'll kind of give me that opportunity to branch off into other topics as well to try to get it all into them while they're perceptive and they're asking that question. Make sure they know where they can go. That's really important. Make sure they know where they can go if they can't reach you right away because like the girls have mentioned, we get really busy at times, right? We get so overwhelmed that we just got to take it back a step and we can't be there to answer every question every moment of the day. And sometimes questions need to be answered right away. Like sometimes they're like a customer asking something quick or like a recruit that we don't want them to get discouraged. So we need that answer right away. So it's important to let people know that they can go to their sponsor first and then their upline, their superstar director like Robin. Consultant support, make sure they know that number so that they can go there. And the Northern Warmth group, just in general, that if there's a question they have that a lot of people need input or to chime in, that they can ask a question on there. Be personal with that person. Just, you know, like this is a relationship you're building. I know we're building relationships with our customers, but we're also building relationships with our team members, right? Because if you're just beginning your team, those people are going to be the baseline of your team. Like these people are going to be like, you know, your front line. They're your front line. You should have relationships with each and every one of them if you can. Also, like minor tip too, make sure that to tell them to get comfortable with that catalog and to get or know our products and stuff, because that's one thing. If you don't know the products in the business, then it's going to be a little bit harder to answer customers when they come to you with questions about things. So to encourage them to go through that catalog step by step Mine
And those
safe.
selling cards, those new selling cards that just got uploaded to the marketing tab too. Something like that is really helpful.
So yeah, that's just my jot list of tips that I have.
Yeah, it's a great list.
Can I talk?
No.
Not that it's working.
Ta-da.
Oh my gosh, sorry guys. I had to dip out twice. Holy. I think it's important to always keep in mind that recruiting takes commitment, and that commitment is a partnership. And whether you recruit 5 people or 1 person, you're kind of going into an agreement with a partnership that you will provide every skill, experience, and time that you have towards your recruit, and they will commit to produce the results when they apply those skills that you teach them. So it's a lot of give and take in that sense. You kind of, like everyone has said, you definitely need to know what your new recruits are thinking about doing with Scentsy, with their business. You don't want to input all this energy into someone who is the kidnapper, but you definitely don't want to shun them down either. So getting into this rhythm of knowing exactly, okay, I need to tag them in this and explain to them this and walk them through the workstation. Like everyone should get a shot of 1 hour with their sponsor, with their workstation, whether they want to become a director one day or not.
Yeah.
I think Steph made a very good point. From what I know, 98% of people that join Scentsy join for
The kit.
like the kit, join for bars. Like they don't ever join. I've never heard even an SSD say, yeah, I had a team member who joined to become a superstar director. Like that's not, that never happens. So understand that the same way you have a journey, they will too. So you have to give them time. You know, you can't come back and say, oh my gosh, you're asking so many questions, or oh my gosh, like I don't have time. It's like, you know what? You recruited them. Like at the end of the day, you promised them something. You promised them support. And if you're not there for them, then it's really going to hurt your business in the long run if you don't choose, like I said, if you don't make calculated decisions about spending correct time with certain people. I think it's also important too, if you recruit people near you, you should definitely attend their launch party.
Yeah.
I mean, this whole I don't have time, like, I know everyone's busy and everyone has different lifestyles and stuff, but I mean, like, these people won't have enough time in 2 weeks to know all the combine and saves, right? They won't know, oh, is your laundry safe? Like, can my kid play in the wax? Like, these are the kind of questions that as a newbie, if I had like 20 people on my launch party and someone asked me that, I'd be like, deer in the headlights. And I don't know what to say. And I'm so delayed with my answer that now I'm putting doubts in my own head. Like, is this stuff even safe? Even though you know it's probably safe.
Yeah.
So being there with your newbie, it's not about running the show. It's definitely just about being there for the questions. And, you know, if someone wants to buy like 20 bars and 5 warmers, then you're there to help them combine and save them. And, you know, you're there for your newbie to kind of back them up. So in saying that, I think the first month of your newbie's journey is extremely important, more so than anything else. The first month definitely sets the tone of your relationship with them in the future, if they can ever come to you. It sets the tone with, you know, what are you expecting from them? What are they expecting from you? And if they really don't succeed, like if they have a launch party like I did where no one showed up, and I didn't have the support from my sponsor to be like, you know what, keep going, or try a basket party, or try a Facebook party. Like, if I didn't have that, I would have quit. I would have been like, I'm out. And I told Robin that anyways. Like, I was like, that's it. No one showed up to my launch party. This is stupid. So, like, how easy is that?
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys caught my other videos, but, like, we have an average of 60,000 thoughts a day, and 80% of them are negative. So, like, how easy is it for you to talk yourself out of something rather than into something, right?
Easy.
Definitely, there was something in here in my notes that was important. And empower your recruit. So, yeah, like, don't fall in the trap of doing things for your recruit. So, like, you know, so saying like, oh, I tagged them, they should have watched that. Like, no, like if they ask you a question that you know is in that video, they didn't watch it. So sometimes I even go, depending on the recruits that I have, I even go above and say, okay, like I know it's not babysitting, but it's like, okay, so did you watch the video about opening your party? And then she'll be like, oh no, like what's it about? And I'll be like, well, watch it. It'll explain the whole thing. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and explain it for you. And I'm also not going to do it for you. Like tonight, for example, I had a brand new recruit. She travels a lot. She knows a lot of people, so she decided to do a Facebook launch party. I tagged her in the Facebook scripts. I said, this is what you should be doing to personalize the script and then save it, because you don't want to have to rewrite it every single time. But I'm here to back her up as I would at a regular launch party. Like right now, I'm playing Facebook party games because that's important to me, so she can see my support. And people are asking questions like, is the laundry safe? So I'm there to back her up. She feels way more at ease, even though it's not in person. And it makes a big step, like, so empowering your recruits and not doing things for them. Like sometimes maybe take an hour to not respond. I know maybe that's not something I should be preaching, but I think like at the beginning of my journey, I would have been like, no, like respond to every question. And now like seeing my team grow and all these newbies, like different generations down, like if you want to know how much a buddy is, then bro, like knock yourself out, go check the website. Like don't message me. That's not something that I should be answering you. So you guys need to kind of know when to draw the line. So like I said, whether you have a team of 2 right now or a team of 20, one day it will get out of hand.
Yep.
So yeah, just don't get in the habit of doing things for them. Like don't, as desperate as they are, don't go and check that website for them. Don't go and check the marketing tab for them. Maybe now, because the marketing tab is a little bit like in a different language going right now, but in general, I would definitely, like Dana said, like encourage them to use the group, encourage them to use the newbie group. You guys all need to, like, I don't know, I'm not trying to be like negative Nancy, but you guys need to step it up, man. With the videos, like you guys need to post your physical appearance on that group if you want people to feel comfortable with coming to you, including your new recruits.
Or doing it.
Right. So not sorry, but you guys need to step it up a little bit. Like Ashley Coates made a simple video today about like wrapping her like samples or whatever, and I thought that was brilliant, and it didn't take that much effort, and she went out of her way to show everyone because she's posting about it. She's obviously getting a good feedback from it. So just sharing things like that, like things that are actually working. Don't just share like quotes. Don't just share like, I don't know, just things like actually make a video. Like, I know you guys don't like making videos, but I think you should do it.
Yeah.
It shows your new recruit that you're a badass.
Yeah.
Sorry for swearing.
Badass is good. We like badass.
Yeah. I think that's all. I got.
Really echoey, Robin.
Yeah.
No, it usually happens.
I'll mute it just in case.
Yep. How about now?
Now you're good.
Haha, Raluca is the culprit. Okay. It's really easy to get caught up with, especially if you've got more than one teammate that joined at the same time. So if you've got 2 people that joined at the same time, it's really hard to keep up with who you told what to, because you're still trying to join other people because we're in a $59 frenzy. And you're still trying to keep up with everything else. So Scentsy has for us, and we also have our own little mini version, but Scentsy's recently come out with a better version of what's called the 70-day coaching guide. I just uploaded it to the Drive group, and I uploaded it to the Leaders group. Before that was created, we had the pinned post on the Leaders group, and we still tag you guys when we first join. When you first sponsor somebody, we tag you in that post, so that you can go in and know exactly kind of what you need to be teaching your new folks in the first few days. And it really outlines for you. So if you haven't printed it out yet, pretty sure you've all been tagged. It says, there's a little card on there and it says new consultant orientation, and you can actually walk through it. Did you help your consultant sign into the workstation? What about the startup guide? Did you go through the personal website? Did you teach them about a party online? Did you talk about the training center? And it literally gives you little check marks that you can actually go through, so that if you've got 3 or 4 people going at once, and that's not everybody's problem. Maybe they only have 1, maybe you have 2, maybe you've got none. But when you do have somebody, you need to know that you could have this printed out 15 times and have each person's name on the top, put it into a binder, and flip through and know exactly what you've gone through with people. Right? You know what you've tagged them in. You know what you've taught them. Well, yes, I talked to them on this date. I contacted my new person on this date. There's even dates, date lines in there for you to go in and write in the dates that you had last contact with your front line. There's a whole bunch of different pieces to this. One of the ones that you as a leader are going to have to be prepared to watch for is that your leader, so the person that is under you that's now recruited somebody, may not be doing this. And that means that that person isn't fulfilling their responsibilities the way Raluca was just saying a few minutes ago. And so then what happens is there's you, and then there's your front line, and then there's this other person down here, and this person down here is a rock star. Just like out of nowhere, found their way through their workstation, started finding people, started doing all these things, and this front line of yours is just like MIA, like they're gone, like they're just like not even here. You need to go down and go through these things with that person. If it's when you get to the point where you have 100 people underneath you or 50 people underneath you, and the next thing you know, you've got 4 generations down, you need to be the one to make sure that this is happening. You need to be connecting with your front line and saying, hey, did you talk to your new recruit? Did you talk to that person? No, I haven't talked to her yet. You know what? I'm giving you one chance. If you haven't done this already, then I'm going to do it. Because that person could be your first director. That person could be the one person that's going to take you to amazing places. But if you miss out on this, then that person will never know how amazing that they can be if they don't have any type of leadership at all. And that's where you come in. And that's why we make sure that we've got so many eyes on that group, so that there's always somebody watching, so that people don't fall through the cracks. Okay. I'm going to back it up a little bit. When you're joining people, I know right now it's really exciting because it's $59 to join and you just want to join people up as fast as you can. But if you have someone and you feel like they're fairly solid, see if you can't set them up for success. Like if you know that the 20th is check day, I'm just going to bring that out just as an example because it just happened. If you know the 20th is on Friday and today's Monday, don't join her up today. Tell her, let's join you up on Thursday. And she's going to go, well, why would I join up on Thursday? Because that'll give you more days in your shooting star and it's check day on Thursday. Like, let's set you up for a time that's going to work. Or let's book your launch party on the Friday and sign you up on the day of your launch party. And that way you still have 15 days to get your shooting star. So that you're
That's
not...
something that...
Sorry,
I didn't mean to interrupt you. That was something that when we had the shooting star thing last month, I told all my new guys, look, why don't we get you a party now? Why don't we gather those orders now? Do all this now, and you can join the night you have the party.
Yep.
Enter that in, and look, you got your shooting star on your first night. Like,
yep, that's the way to do it.
Yeah.
That's how we flip, right? That's called flipping a party, right? Like, that's how we do it.
Yeah.
That's exactly
I know
it.
that my girl Christine, that's what we did for her. We had her do her setup. She messaged people, got her orders, whatever, had her party, signed up. I think it was she actually signed up the day before her party, but she signed up, and then boom, that night she put it through her order and she got it. So.
Yeah, and that's the way to do it, and that's what we do. We do the exact same thing. We try to set people up in the meeting. You know what? Because by the time they get through that, then they already know they already know their way through the catalog because they've already taken all those orders. They already know what it means to have some form of a party. They already know how to go out and get the customers and how to talk to people and how to approach people. Like, they've already walked through some of the process without even knowing that they've done it. And then the next step is, well, why don't you just join, right? Like, it's just boom. It's just like it's already done for them. They've already done the work instead of joining and then let's work through the process. It's another way. It's another strategic move to make sure someone's going to be successful, especially if you know that they've been watching for a long time and they're ready, like they're ready. Okay, so there's a couple of different things. There's the 70-day coaching plan. I'm not going to go through it. I uploaded it to the Drive group. It's in what used to be called the resources. It's in the marketing tab somewhere. I wasn't able to locate it, unfortunately, tonight. I know they're still working on the marketing tab as we speak type thing. So I wanted to make sure that you guys had access to that, print it off and have it. Like, just even if you just read through it once to kind of get a feel for, this is what you should be teaching your new consultant in the first 2 days. This is what you should be teaching them after 3 and 4 days, after 6 days, after 1 month, after 2 months. These are the types of things that they're ready for, or they should be ready for hearing, so that you're not overwhelming them. One of the things that I have, and I have it in a PDF somewhere, don't ask me where, is this Spring Sprint book. Some of you might recognize this and some of you might not. I actually had a whole whack of these, and then I actually started printing them off, because what's in here is a whole bunch of pretty amazing things that I think it's kind of cool to give a new consultant after their first week. So let's say after their first week or two, they've got their order in, they're working on their shooting star. Now we want to start giving them a little bit more information, right? So some of the things that are in here, one is called the booking bag game. So how to book a party, basically. How to book a party from a party. They're vital behaviors, right? Like, these are the things that we want replicated. So we're going to teach them what we want to have replicated. One big button. Here's what you need to do. Do you need Scentsy? Like, not to be afraid to brand yourself. So it's just one. These are very simple little things. Like, it's not a big thing. It's small and easy concepts. A booking blitz. Are you nervous about making phone calls? Don't be. Reach out to your customers. And it just kind of walks you through, because not everybody is into videos and not everybody's into reading. So between the hands-on, the videos, and the reading, one way or the other, you're going to reach them. But these are things that I like to give these to my new consultants, because I find that it's nice to have a reference guide. So even if they don't use it themselves, they can put it away, and someday they might want to go back to it to have for their downline. But knowing that the door is there to open is better than not knowing that the door exists. Does that make sense? How many testers? Enter my drawing. What you can do with your enter my drawing slips. Do you have my number? How to make a perfect hostess coaching packet. Planning packets. What the card game is. Creating your story. Like, these are all vital behaviors. These are all things that are super, super, super important, and you can't jam all this in the first 15 days. In the first 15 days, they need to know how to get their link to post it on their Facebook. They need to know how to email people. They need to know how to access their workstation. They need to know how to open a party. That's what they need to know. The rest of it, you can walk them through, you can coach them through. But after that, that's when we're really building a consultant. Right? The first 15 days, we're just getting them to realize that they can be amazing at this. After that, we're really putting the nuts and bolts into our consultants. And that's where you need to be really, really careful. Because if you let that drop after the first 15 days, you may lose them altogether. Because they're either going to keep up their momentum or they're going to fall off. This time of year is wonderful because Christmas is here, or coming, and we've got a full 2 months of pure momentum that just keeps carrying because people just want Scentsy. It does the work for us. But the rest of the year, we don't have that. So this time of year, you may get lucky if you've joined up a whole bunch of people that they keep going. But if you don't give them the nuts and the bolts, 6 months from now even, you may find yourself in a little bit of a stalemate with these people. And we really want to keep them engaged. The ones that want to be engaged. It's like Stephanie said, you know, you can't, 50% of these people aren't even going to want to do anything with this. And then you've got the people where their life will change. And all of a sudden, you know, their full-time job isn't there anymore. Or maybe they just had a baby. Or maybe there was a death in the family. And now they're looking for a family to leech onto, or maybe they're looking for a distraction, or maybe they're looking for another way to make money. Like, you don't know, it could be anything. But if you don't give them the nuts and bolts, when that opportunity presents itself, they won't be able to run with it. So that all being said, now we need to think about, okay, what do I know about my new consultant? We have a few different things. These ladies have all heard me talk about them many, many times. Very, very simple tests, and they're kind of fun. So I always get my new consultants to do them right away at the beginning while they're still engaged. One is called the 5 love languages. And you can actually Google the 5 love languages. I can post a link later. And it really kind of gives you an idea of what kind of one-on-one or how much one-on-one you need to give your new teammate. Simple, simple test. Some people don't want that one-on-one. They just want to text you for 30 seconds, answer my question, and leave me alone. Like, that's all they want. Some people need to sit down and have a coffee for an hour. Some people just want a postcard to show up in the mail. Like, just show me you recognize me and then leave me alone. Like, everybody's got a different way that they need to be recognized. And if you're not recognizing them in a way that's going to be meaningful to them, then you may also lose them for that too, because you don't get recognized in anywhere. No job, no workplace recognizes people the way that we do with this business. And we've become very successful because of that. Not we as in Northern Warmth, but I mean Scentsy and direct sales in general. So there's the 5 love languages, and it can kind of tell you if someone needs a coffee or someone needs a postcard, or if they love gifts, or if they just want a hug, or what they need, if they're touchy-feely or not. It will give you some kind of an indication, and later on you may need that information. But it'll be harder to get later on than it is right at the beginning. There's also a little test. I mean, there's all kinds of tests, personality tests. There's all kinds of stuff that we can do. We made you do them when you signed up for this group, just so that we can kind of get a better gauge on you when you need extra help. Sometimes when there's a lot of conflict, it's easier for you to go back to a personality test so that you know how to deal with these people in a way that will work for them. And I know that sounds a little bit crazy, but it works. It really works.
Oh, no, I was saying that that's a good idea, but I was on mute.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's okay. I muted myself. No,
Yeah.
that's a good idea. I don't know. I might start doing something like that. Because I'm finding that for me personally, for some recruits, like I have this disconnect between like them joining and then being gung-ho while reaching for their shooting star.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's a disconnect there. And like I'm losing them somewhere in the process of either adding them to the group and the newbie group. And I mean, I still don't tag them all like in one day. But somehow they're like, I feel like they're still overwhelmed. So getting to know them of like, even if they say, I don't know where I want this business to go, I think a personality test might actually teach you more about them than they think they know. So that might, I don't know, I think that's awesome. I didn't know you were doing that. So
yeah. So in the pinned post of the newbie group, there's like, if you're new, start here. And it's like a catch-all for everybody. Like I can go in there and pull pretty much everybody's answers to those questions. Especially the ones up until the last 3 months, let's say, because everybody was tagging people in the first, like, are you new? Click here. But now, since he's got the same, pretty much the same thing on the workstation, so you can go in, are you new? Click here. And it basically walks you through the same thing of making sure that you know how to go through the workstation, you know how to do A, B, C, D, E, and F. But what it doesn't ask you is what's your personality type? What's your love language? Like, so that when you get to a point as a leader where you're trying to hit star consultant or you're trying to hit superstar consultant and your fate is like you've done your leadership in the best of your ability. You have got 1,000 PRV in, you've recruited so many people and you still don't have the GWV to hit what you want. So now you're like, okay, why am I not connecting with these people? Why am I not able to motivate these people? Well, first of all, it's not our job to motivate people. It's our job to motivate the people that want to be motivated. But sometimes you've got 25 people that are doing nothing. And it becomes very frustrating. So what you want to think about then is, okay, why aren't they doing anything? Is it because they just don't want anything to do with the business, or is it because they've kind of lost their way? And so then you can go back through their personality types and kind of go back through where they started and decide, you know what, is this worth putting time and energy into, or should I just let this go? And then kind of go through each one of those people and decide, you know what, should I connect with that person or not? Should I connect with that person or not? But if you don't make these relationships, somebody said at the beginning a few minutes ago about the relationships right at the beginning, if you don't make these relationships and try to learn more about your frontline right from the get-go, it really, the first 15 days sets the stage for their whole Scentsy career. It really does. It makes a huge difference. I'm not sure that I have anything else to add except homework. I don't know what you guys, maybe you guys would like to share if you give any treats or if you give out anything to your new recruits. See, I'm still trying to fix that. New teammates in your first, you know, in the first month or in the first few weeks that you think is good for them, help them get going.
I think it's important to find what works for you and your team as well. Like, because I know that even sometimes as leaders, some of us, a lot of leaders actually are also working like a full-time job as well. So those of us that have more time at home that can put the time into, you know, the personality tests and all the extra and above things can certainly do so, right? But it's all about finding something that works for you as well. Because if you're busy, then you need to find something, you know, in a way to get the information across. And also cover all bases,
right?
But to make it so that you're not going under, right? And getting way too overwhelmed with trying to get everything out at all your recruits and making yourself just, I guess, miserable in a way if you're taking on too much, right? Burned out. You can burn yourself out really fast. So yeah, just find what would work for you as a leader with training your recruits. As long as like the basics and stuff are there and that they're learning, finding what works for you and your team is definitely ideal.
Yep, I agree. What we did, and again, like Dana said, this is going to be up to you. This is going to be as much or as little as you want to put into this. I wanted to track everything. Like, I want to know everything. I want to be able to go back and look a year back and look and see where we were at this time, what our PRV was, what our GW, like I track everything. Like, I'm like that. I need to know. Because I need to be able to project what's going to happen. I have that anxiety, I guess you would call it, about what's going to happen. So if I already can predict what's going to happen, then I know when to do training and I know when to do all these things. So one of those things is the personality tests. And so what we did was we just set up that link, and we just tell people go in and fill out the form. And we just give them the link, and then all the data just accumulates in the background on a Google. It's just one of those Google forms. Super easy. And I just send that to everybody when they join. And I'm like, here, fill this out, la la la. And it just goes in there, and I just leave it there until I need it. And then I go back and access it. But there's lots of different ways that you can use technology to your advantage. Like, some people send postcards for recognition. Some people post on timelines. Some people use that, like different apps for recognizing their new consultants on their timeline or on the group page. I think if you're able to find a way that works for you in a way that's easy, in the easiest way possible without driving yourself crazy. So for some people, it's going to be a binder with all of those little pages, and everybody's got a name, and it's in alphabetical order, and rock and roll. Done. For some people, like me, everything's going to be electronic. For some people, it's going to be in their phone. Like Raluca, oh my God, everything's in her phone. I could just die. Like, I look at her going through her phone, I'm like, oh my God, I'm getting dizzy. I don't know how she does it. everybody does it differently, right? Anybody else have anything to add? Because we are right at the 9 o'clock. Oh, everybody's muted, so you have to unmute yourself if you want to talk.
I don't know, I think once we're done talking about this, we should chat about the homework from last week a little bit.
Oh, I'd love to do that. Okay, so why don't we, okay, so I'll give you the homework very quickly for this week, and then we will chat, and then we can post the homework too. So I have a leadership effectiveness self-test, so that you can kind of evaluate what kind of a leader you are already and what that means to you. And, you know, we tell everybody to do the self-reflection, but self-reflection isn't always the easiest thing if it's not guided. Sometimes we need questions to kind of make us think about things that we wouldn't normally think about. So I'm going to give you this little tiny test, and I want you to fill it out and post a picture of your homework on the group. And I'd also like to see you do the love language test. So we're going to post that as well. So it's 2 little tests. I promise will take less than 10 minutes of your time. I think that's fair. I know we're really busy this month, so we don't want to bombard you, but I also want to see that you get the value. I want to make sure that you understand the value of these tests and what they can do for you. Okay, Raluca, did you want to lead the homework for last week?
Yeah.
Oh, baby, you can do it.
Oh no, I just wanted to okay, so one thing I want to make before the homework of last week, something that's kind of bothering me. I know I'm like such a negative Nancy today, but something that's bothering me is please stop doing your homework an hour before training. It's kind of driving me bonkers. Like you guys, when we give you guys the homework, you have 7 days. I'm not saying like do it right away, but like don't do it last hour, because like some people were running into technical difficulties, and like today I only found out. So like I'm trying to figure out how to help, and anyways, some people got it, some people didn't. So first of all, point number 1, Orville's pretty awesome, right? Like when I was Superstar consultant, my first really like crazy reaction about becoming director was like, oh my gosh, I get to hear Orville speak. And it was even more exciting because at the time I had met him in Mexico. And it's really cool, like Shelly Stuckless said, what does he say? He makes, oh no, someone just commented and now it's like bumping.
Sorry, Raluca.
Yeah.
I just want to add in, just in case no one, I know that a lot, and I think 99.9% of people know who Heidi and Orville are. But
right.
I know some don't.
Okay. Heidi and Orville are the CEOs of our company. They're the power couple that started the whole thing. They're the ones that pay us. So yeah, that's a good point, Becca. That's awesome.
They're big boss man.
I didn't even think I introduced that there. I just assumed. So, yeah, it was really cool. Like, Shelly had met him previously. She's part of the NW Drive, and she was saying, having met him, it was even cooler to hear him speak because she visualized his mannerisms as he talked. And he's very motivational, to be honest. So, some things that people took away, like we did, was the 5 levels of trust. And basically, if you are expecting to be trusted, but you're untrustworthy, you're expecting too much from the world, to be honest. You constantly have to put out to the world what you want back, and we talked about this. Actually, we talked about it in the book club more, about the energy of the world, and like if whatever you put out there is going to come back. So like if you're having a crappy day and you're expecting good karma to happen, it won't, because you're actually not feeling those energies inside of you. So that's kind of like where he was going with the 5 levels of trust. A lot of people really connected with the Sensi spirit. So like, who loved the purple Kool-Aid? I think we should definitely have that. So my second half, I mean, Robin told me at this beginning when I started listening to him that he really pitches into like really important things the second half of his speeches. And it's really just a matter of like,
reading it out.
So a lot of people really connected with the Sensi spirit. So, you know, like regardless of your situations, or if you're running into a crappy consultant or a crappy situation at a vendor show like I did, where the girl next to me was like, I can't stand sugar cookie, you need to move. I moved at that vendor show like 4 times. 4 times I moved my table, like physically set up. I was in tears by the end of it. I called Robin. I'm like, that's it. Like, I'm done. No more vendor shows. Anyways, by my last move, I was by the door at the entrance of the show, and my first customer who came in, I was so flabbergasted because I was like alone setting up this table. She bought like $300 worth of stock, and I'm like, okay, there's a Scentsy spirit. Like, as long as I'm gonna sell some night lights. I don't even know why. Exactly. Another cool thing too was Kelsey PB. Sorry, I don't know her last name.
Kelsey Barrett. Yeah.
Right. Okay. She said, one thing that really stood out to me was the metaphor that Orville used to describe how to attract recruits. He compared getting recruits to salmon fishing. You need to use the correct line. You need to be truthful. You need to be honest. You need to be engaged. And that's kind of true. I mean, I've never been salmon fishing. It's a salmon that swim upstream. Like, I mean, there's certain ways to fish with certain fish.
I haven't been out for cod. I wouldn't know.
Stephanie.
You'll have to come to Newfoundland. We bring you trout and mud up.
I mean, so what he's getting at is that there's certain ways to fish for certain fish, right?
Yeah.
There's certain ways to fish for certain fish. So say that 10 times long. So if you are trying to recruit a certain type of person, but you're going about it the wrong way, then you're not going to get the kind of person you want to recruit. And this is, I'm saying from my personal experience, for example, for my wedding photography, I got taught if you're going to shoot weddings that portray what you don't want to shoot, why would you keep getting clients that you don't want to shoot? So you can't book the people that you do want to shoot. Like, people that are like the lower end wedding, like, you know, whatever, instead of a bar and you go to a I don't know, bar, or not bar, like what's it called? Oh my gosh, like one of those really beautiful palace looking places. So like if you're going to keep shooting bar and weddings, why would you get a couple from one of those like really high end weddings, right? It's the same idea. If you're going to go to shoot for a recruit that doesn't have the same values as you, that maybe is a kidnapper, but maybe you want someone that's more long-term, right? So like, why would you put all that energy into knowing that this person totally is a kidnapper? Why would you just get them as a recruit for no reason, right? Unless you actually want someone like that.
Could be your next director.
Should I stop talking or keep going?
No, I love it.
Okay. Does anyone else want to?
This, just so that you know, this audio changed me as a consultant. When I heard this call, I was a director, but I was in make or break mode. Like I had just hit the top 100 and, believe it or not, wasn't sure if I was going to stick with it. I was like, I don't know if I can do this. I feel alone. I feel like I don't have any support. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing, where I'm supposed to go to get help. I knew nothing. And I was like, what do you mean they just gave me a trip? Like, I was like I really just didn't get it. And then I heard this call, and then I went back and listened to it again. And then I went back and listened to it again. And there was just so many different things in there that spoke to me, and what speaks to me might not speak to you. But I figured that at least if you heard it once, it's like what I said earlier about opening a door, right? If you know that the door exists, at least you can walk through it when you're ready. But if you don't know that the door exists, then you'll never know anything. And I think that was kind of the point of making you guys listen to this audio, was so that you could hear from the horse himself the things that we're trying to teach you and why we're trying to teach it to you in a way that's more meaningful than maybe we are able to articulate sometimes. Sometimes, you know, I have days when it comes out and it just flows off of my tongue and I just sound wonderful. And I have other days when it's just like, blah. And you know what? You're going to have days as a leader, you're going to have days like that. When everything comes out wonderful, and other days it just comes out like crap because you're having a crappy day. It happens. We're all human. But listening to this audio is something, it brings me back. when I hear drink the purple Kool-Aid, I remember. Every time I hear that, I remember drink the purple Kool-Aid. I do drink the purple Kool-Aid. I do bleed purple. I do live, breathe, sleep, eat Scentsy. And I will for 2 or 3 more years max. No, I'm just kidding. I will continue to do that because there's an old quote that says, you can work 3 years like no one else will to live the rest of your life like no one else can. And it's true. Like after 3 years, my paycheck tripled. Not in a big way, not like a little way, like in a big way. Like enough to support my whole house, my whole family. And if I can manage to muster going through recruiting and booking parties and doing Facebook parties and doing all of these things that sometimes kind of tick me off because I kind of get bored with them. But you know what? Another year or 2, people go to university for like 8 years to make that kind of money. Like this is really all about you. And I want you to take from that. I hope you were able to take from that audio what I was able to take from that audio, and that is strength. Is we don't get to hear Orville talk like that very often. It's rare. Like when he talks, everybody listens. But for him to talk like that, it's like twice a year, if we're lucky. And then you have to be lucky enough to be on the call or to be wherever he is when it comes out, because when it comes out, it's got so much. There's so much value in it. And so I hope that you guys are able to, if you haven't listened to your homework for whatever reason, I hope that you are able to go back and do that because it's worth it. It totally changed my business.
I think when he was talking about, I kind of remember when he did this training, it was I think
2014.
Yeah, like, but no, because I was there. It wasn't 2013. It was 2014.
Well, it was 2014. I actually had, my concierge had to go to help desk to get them to pull it out, and they couldn't even pull it out in one piece.
I think that there was something going on with the business at the time, or there was just something negative going on at the time, and people were losing their faith in Scentsy for some reason. I remember it clearly because he was very passionate about this talk. I mean, you guys heard him. And when he talks about having, what did he say exactly? He said, heart-based business is what we need. I think that's probably what struck with me the most is that, like I told you guys before, that's one of the reasons why I joined Scentsy. Knowing that we have each other's backs, right? Like, it's not just the consultants that need to have each other's backs. Like, Scentsy has your back. So if they make a change, they're probably making it for you to actually be able to grow more or make more commission. Or, you know, in the short term, it makes you upset. But in the long term, it always makes sense. So definitely not tearing each other down and cheering for each other, right? Like, again, you guys need to remember we're all on different journeys.
Yep.
So you can't be holding grudges, and you can't be pinpointing, and you can't say, oh, like I wish I was like that, or I wish I was growing at that speed. Like there's so many things. Like I was talking to Robin on the phone. There's just so many things to take in consideration, guys. Like like the place that you live in, the demographic that you're in, people that you know, people that you don't know. There's just focus on yourself. Focus on helping your new recruits. Focus on.
And if you're on the group, you know what? If somebody welcomes somebody, just say something, please. Like if you put your VIP or if you put your new consultant on the group and you say, welcome, and nobody comments, not only is your new consultant deflated, but you're deflated, right?
I think so.
So why would anybody do it for you if you don't do it for them? Right? Like doesn't everybody, I don't think there's one person here in this group, in the Drive group, that doesn't want to see that 30-second way to go, or congratulations, or you did it. There's not one of us.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't really, and again, I'm being negative again, I just don't see many people from Drive doing that.
I don't either, and that's why we're having leadership training.
Start doing it!
Because they need to understand, right? Like, Sensei's just recently relaunched this whole thing about recognition because of the importance of it. Like, millennials especially, and I don't mean to be pointed for anybody that happens to be a millennial, because I know that most of you are, but millennials especially really appreciate recognition. And Sensei is really going out of their way to make sure that that happens. I mean, like, really. Megan Clements, who is my upline, 3 uplines away from me. Anyway, she's who I recognize as being my upline, because she's just so amazing. Like, she has 6,000 people underneath her, and she's actually hired somebody to make sure the recognition gets done. Like, that's all they're there for, is just to do recognition. So you tell me, what's important here? Like, this is something that we need to work together, all of us. And it might get hard sometimes because you might not be the person that recruited 5 people this month. And you might not be the person that has the wind at your back right now. But when your time comes, and it will, if you are persistent, then everyone else will be there for you. Everyone has their own turn. What's that?
And consistent.
And consistent. That's a very good word, Steph. Very good. So we are just over an hour now. So I'm going to post leadership effectiveness self-test. And I'm going to post love language test. It would be really good if you could post. I would highly recommend doing your love language assessment first, and then you can post both of your answers together at the same time. Like, my love language is this, and here is the picture of my homework. That way we're not looking for 2 pieces for one person. Like, you can put it all together in one post. Does that make sense, everybody? Mm-hmm. It might be fun for the leaders to do too. Just because.
Yeah, I've never heard of these tests. I'll do them.
You know what? They're fun. They're fun. The love language one is really good. There's one by Mary Christian.
I did that before. I feel like I did.
I think, yeah, Steph, I'm pretty sure you did it. Mm-hmm. There's a book by Mary Christensen, the one that we used to use for directors in 21 weeks, which is now like condensed into this. And she had a test called What's Your Bird, which was kind of funny. And I still make people do that, my front line, because it's kind of like your love language, but it gives you a little bit more without going right into the, like, Myers-Briggs type indicator test that we kind of made you do before this started. And that we made you do the test because if you need help at some point, we need to be able to help you. Flat out, like psychology here. We need to be able to help you. We need to know what works for you, what doesn't work for you. And if you're struggling at some point in time, we need to be able to be there for you. You guys are the cream of the crop of Northern Warmth, flat out. Like, you went through hoops. As far as I'm concerned, you went through hoops to belong in this group. So if you're in this group right now, it's because you worked your butt off to get through our many, many tests of worthiness at the beginning. And we believe that you are worth investing time in, or otherwise every single one of us wouldn't be on this panel right now. We wouldn't sit for hours bickering amongst ourselves about how to best train you. We wouldn't spend hours going through resources and different books and all kinds of other things if we didn't think that you weren't worth the effort. Like, I was actually ready to cancel training today because life just wasn't going my way today. And these guys stuck up for you. Telling you. Got a strong leadership team here because I was ready to bail. I have a show first thing tomorrow morning. I'm gone. Okay. Hey, you know what? We need to be real, right? Like, I can be superstar director. You can call me whatever title you want, but we need to be real. Like, this needs to be, we need to be transparent. We can't lead you to be better leaders if we're not transparent with you, right?
But we're all human. Like, we're not perfect either, and we have to do all the same things as everyone else and go through the same things that all you guys are going through too, right?
Well, and in our own time, right? Like we all will go through the same things. It's just a matter of when, right? Like it depends on the, where you are in your journey. Okay. Jen. I totally did that on purpose. How's it going? We're hanging out now. We're hanging out.
You had such a good hair day.
Jen always has a good hair day. It's kind of bad.
No, I got a peacock on my head.
She's always pretty. Okay, last words of wisdom, Jen.
Well, this is good. I think to be a good leader, you just need to be present. You need to really be hands-on and as present as you can be with your team. Don't just go recruiting on a recruiting mission and then not make personal relationships. These ones will last. And really work with them to teach them everything that you know and offer them possibilities to grow. That's why I love having this group for my own team, and because I'm able to actually expose them to more leaders than on my own. So I really do think that if you're thinking of growing your team, if there's anything that you should be learning or could be doing a little better at, you can come to us if you have any questions. And I don't really have too much to add. I'm going last here, so a lot of things have been covered tonight.
That's okay. So, we were just having fun with you. It's okay. She's gonna hate me now. I love you. Okay. I think we're good. You guys have an awesome night. We will be looking for homework. I will post the homework in the next 20 minutes, and you can watch for that. Thanks for tuning in, and we will see you all next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Toodaloo.